They told him a poor Filipino kid had no business singing an American rock classic on the world's biggest stage. But the moment Simon Cowell heard the first haunting notes of Hotel California, the room fell silent, history shifted, and one small voice changed everything. If you love real stories that inspire millions, hit subscribe right now and stay with us till the end, because this audition will stay in your heart forever. In a narrow alley on the outskirts of Manila, where tin roof houses leaned against each other like tired old men and the air always smelled of dust and street food, a boy named Miguel learned early what it meant to dream quietly. He was 12 years old, thin as a reed, with worn slippers and a guitar whose paint had chipped so badly you could see the wood beneath. That guitar had once belonged to his father, a fisherman who never came back one stormy night when Miguel was only 7. Since then, Miguel's world had shrunk to helping his mother sell vegetables in the market by day and practicing music by candlelight at night. Music was not a luxury for Miguel, it was a shelter. When the rain poured through holes in their roof, when neighbors argued, when hunger twisted his stomach, he would sit cross-legged on the floor, close his eyes, and let his fingers find the strings. His mother, Rosa, used to hum old Filipino folk songs while cooking, but Miguel discovered something different one evening when a tourist passed by their stall playing Hotel California on a small radio. The melody felt strange and familiar at the same time, like a story from another world that somehow understood his own pain. He didn't know the words at first. He only knew how it made him feel. Every night after that, Miguel tried to copy the song. He listened again and again on an old borrowed phone, pausing, rewinding, memorizing every note. His accent was thick, his English broken, but the emotion came naturally. Neighbors laughed when they heard him. Some told him to sing Tagalog songs instead. Others said a poor kid like him should focus on earning money, not chasing fantasies. Miguel smiled politely, but inside, the song kept growing louder. The idea of America's Got Talent entered his life almost by accident. One evening, while helping at a neighbor's house, he saw a clip on television of singers from all over the world standing in front of famous judges. He watched Simon Cowell's serious face, the bright lights, the roaring audience. Something inside him sparked. That stage looked impossibly far away, like another planet. But for the first time since his father's death, Miguel felt hope that scared him. Applying was not easy. They had no internet at home, no passport, no money. Miguel's mother was afraid. She had already lost her husband to the sea, she didn't want to lose her son to disappointment. But when she saw the way Miguel practiced, fingers bleeding, voice trembling but determined, she made a choice. She borrowed money, sold her small gold ring, and together they filled out the forms. When the email arrived saying Miguel had been selected to audition, Rosa cried silently so her son wouldn't see her fear. The journey to America felt unreal. Miguel had never been on a plane before. He pressed his face to the window, watching clouds float beneath him, wondering if his father could somehow see this moment. At the hotel, everything felt too big, too clean, too bright. Other contestants warmed up, some with expensive instruments, others with teams around them. Miguel sat alone in a corner, clutching his old guitar like a shield. Backstage, a producer asked him what he planned to sing. When Miguel said Hotel California, the producer raised an eyebrow. It was a risky choice. Many had failed trying to cover that legendary song. Some staff whispered doubts. A poor Filipino kid singing an American rock classic. It sounded like a recipe for disaster. Miguel overheard some of it. His hands shook, his throat tightened, and for a moment he considered changing the song. But then he remembered the alley, the candlelight, his mother's sacrifices. He decided that if he was going to fail, he would fail being honest. When his name was called, Miguel walked onto the stage under blinding lights. The audience murmured softly. He looked even smaller up there, standing with a guitar almost as big as his torso. Simon Cowell leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, curiosity mixed with skepticism on his face. Howie Mandel smiled kindly. Sofia Vergara tilted her head, intrigued. Heidi Klum waited patiently. Miguel introduced himself in a soft voice, his accent noticeable. He told them where he was from, how his father had taught him his first chords, how music helped him survive. Simon asked why he chose Hotel California. Miguel swallowed and said simply that the song felt like home to him, even though he had never been there. The first chord rang out, slightly shaky but clear. Then Miguel began to sing. Something unexpected happened. His voice wasn't powerful in the traditional sense, but it was raw, aching, honest. He sang as if he were telling his own story, turning every line into a confession. The audience leaned forward. Whispers stopped. Simon's expression changed almost imperceptibly. As Miguel reached the chorus, his voice cracked. For a split second, it felt like everything might fall apart. But instead of breaking, that crack revealed something deeper. The pain, the longing, the loneliness poured out. It no longer sounded like a cover. It sounded like a boy singing about his own life, trapped in a place he could not escape, searching for freedom. Halfway through the song, the camera caught Simon Cowell sitting upright now, eyes fixed on the stage. Sophia's smile faded into a look of surprise. Howie nodded slowly. In the audience, people wiped their eyes, unsure why they were suddenly emotional. Then came the twist no one expected. During the guitar solo, Miguel closed his eyes and added subtle Filipino-style fingerpicking, blending his roots into the iconic melody. It was risky, almost disrespectful to the original, yet it worked beautifully. The song transformed, bridging two worlds. The crowd erupted into applause before he even finished. When the final note faded, there was silence. A heavy, emotional silence that stretched just long enough to make Miguel fear he had done something wrong. Then the audience stood up. A full standing ovation. Miguel's knees nearly gave out. He bowed awkwardly, tears blurring his vision. Simon was the first to speak. He paused, choosing his words carefully. He said he had heard Hotel California thousands of times, but never like that. He admitted he had doubts the moment Miguel mentioned the song, and then confessed that those doubts were completely wrong. Coming from Simon Cowell, it felt like an earthquake. Sophia told Miguel his voice carried a story that didn't need perfect English to be understood. Howie said the performance felt like truth, not talent for show, but talent born from life. Heidi smiled and told him the world needed to hear voices like his. When it came time to vote, the yeses were unanimous. Miguel covered his mouth, shaking, as confetti seemed almost imaginable already. But the biggest surprise was yet to come. Simon leaned forward and said something that would change Miguel's life forever. He said that sometimes, the show isn't about who sings the best, but who makes us feel something we didn't expect. He pressed the golden buzzer. The explosion of gold rained down on Miguel like a miracle. He collapsed to his knees, crying openly now. His mother rushed onto the stage, hugging him tightly, whispering prayers and thanks through sobs. The audience cheered louder than ever. Backstage interviews followed, but Miguel barely remembered them. He felt like he was floating. News of his audition spread across social media within hours. Clips went viral. People who had once laughed at him back home watched in disbelief. Messages poured in from around the world. Yet fame brought its own challenges. Some critics accused the show of using poverty for emotion. Others questioned whether Miguel truly understood the song he sang. Miguel read none of it. His mother shielded him, reminding him why he started. He continued practicing, improving his English, studying music seriously for the first time. In later rounds, Miguel faced tougher competition. There were moments when nerves returned, when doubt crept back in. In one rehearsal, he lost his voice completely from stress. Doctors told him to rest, but time was short. Miguel prayed, drank warm water, and sang softly through the pain. On performance night, his voice returned, slightly rougher but even more emotional. Each performance showed growth, not just in skill but in confidence. He began speaking more comfortably on stage, smiling more freely. Simon became one of his quiet supporters, offering brief but meaningful advice. The judges no longer saw a poor Filipino kid, they saw an artist. No matter how far Miguel went in the competition, his life had already changed. Back home, donations helped repair his family's house. His mother no longer worked endless hours at the market. Local children gathered around Miguel whenever he visited, guitars in hand, dreaming bigger dreams. The true impact of Miguel's Hotel California performance wasn't about winning a show. It was about proving that talent doesn't belong to one country, one language, or one class. It belongs to anyone brave enough to share their truth. On the final night Miguel stood under the lights again. He looked out into the crowd and imagined that narrow alley in Manila. He remembered the candle, the chipped guitar, the laughter of doubters. He smiled, knowing that no matter what happened next, He had already escaped his own Hotel California, even if only in spirit.